Good now, everyone. I hope this broadcast finds you well. My name is Artorius Winchester, Scholar of the Dreaming Glade, and tonight I'm going to be streaming my first ever long-awaited, at least for me, because I've wanted to do this for a while, VTuber cocktail making stream. So this is going to be quite different to normal. What we're going to be doing is essentially taking a couple of popular VTubers who I hinted at in the thumbnails with their silhouettes. I'm sure the eagle-eyed among you have already determined what those VTubers are. But yeah, we're going to be making some alcoholic beverages based on a number of factors around themselves. But it's kind of like my little ode to each VTuber, as it were. But yes, so I'm not going to spend too much time just standing here chatting and not making the drinks, because as you can probably tell by my audio, I'm in a very different place to normal. I'm just trying to make sure I'm standing near enough the mic here. Hopefully my audio is alright. You'll have to let me know because I haven't actually got my normal headset on at the minute. For all I know, this sounds scuffed as all hell, but you know what? We're doing it live. We're just gonna do it live. Yeah. So do let me know in the comments for the live chat if this is sounding good at the time. If no one's around at the time I was going live, I guess I just pray. But yeah. Anyway, I should probably switch over to my other OBS slide, which is here. Yep, there we go. Right, so first off, I'm wondering if there's a better way of me doing this actually, because I'm kind of just with the way I've got my mic arm set up at the minute, I'm kind of stood up and just kind of hunched over it. And it's also where like my camera and lighting setup is. In fact, you know what? I'm going to show that off first, because gosh darn it, this took me a while to set up. It's not a particularly complicated setup, mind you. It's just this is new ground for me. And I've also got to remember to definitely face the mic when I'm talking. A lot easier to do it when you're just looking at a screen. But now my screen's off to the side and it's throwing me a little. In fact, can't I rotate my screens? Hold on 1 second. Okay, I have in fact done that. Although I think I bumped a power cable somewhere, so I'm just going to check, make sure all my stuff is still where it should be. You know what? It's fine. It's fine. We're going with it. But anyway, so that thing I wanted to show off, first off, let me switch it over on OBS. Yeah. There we are. We've got a camera. And, not sure which way the best way to do this is. Yeah, no, this is apparently how I'm doing this now. We've got hands. It's an actual hand cam for making these drinks, which is good. So yeah, I can show you exactly the bottles I'm using, exactly the amounts, what I'm doing to it. I've got everything I can think of near me. I might have to dip out ever so slightly. Put that out of frame. There we are. Yeah, I've got everything that I can think of kind of just lined up over the back here, as you can probably see. The only things I don't have are things I've forgotten, which is entirely my fault. I'm just going to grab them as when I need them. And ice, because I don't have a freezer near me where I am set up here. So, whenever I need ice, you'll have to excuse me if I just pop out and grab some as and when I need to. But yeah, this is all very exciting. I'm glad I got this set up. Hopefully the picture's alright. Yay? Nay? Somewhere in between? Yeah. So, moving on, back to the old presentation type thing. There we are. That's going to be a pain. I have to keep switching between that. No, actually, it'll be fine. God. Okay, yeah, no, that's fine. I thought I wasn't muted and I was going to get double audio for the first 5 minutes there for a second, but nope, it's fine. I'm not that incompetent. So, first up, God, I really would like OBS to be here, though. Yeah. Oh, okay, where's that gone? Why isn't that doing the thing? Do excuse me, some technical difficulties with this. I think it's because I bumped my monitor. Why are you the way you are? Right, okay. We might be back. So, if I click this now... Yeah, there we are, now we've got it. So, our first VTuber of the evening, of the series, of the stream, of everything, really. One of my personal favourites. I don't think I really have what a lot of other people would call like a VTuber Oshi, where like I buy all of their merch. I'm at every single one of their streams. I like, I like variety. I like watching different VTubers when I'm in different moods and when they're playing different things. I like watching a wide variety of them. But I think this VTuber in particular is probably the closest I have to an Oshi, and definitely someone I admire a heck of a lot. So without further ado, let me reveal our first VTuber who'll be making a cocktail for, which is Mr. Ike Eveland, everybody. Michael Eveland himself. But yeah, big fan of his stuff. Been watching him since the debut of Luxium, which is the kind of wave of Niji Sanji that he's in. And yeah, I like the funny Swedish boy. He's cool. So, I've got the VTuber I want to make the cocktail for. Now, I need to think of a couple of other things. And people who are watching this back, I'm going to explain most of my... Well, I'm saying explain most of my methodology. I'm going to explain as much as I can of my thought process here, but a lot of this just comes down to my vibe. Like the kind of vibe I've got off of Ike here. So let me bring up the next slide, actually, so this makes a bit more sense. So, we've got a couple of different kind of sliders, if you want, for what I want this cocktail to be. So we've got our first one, which goes from quite a bitter cocktail on the very left, quite a sweet one on the right. We've got the second one, which is quite a weak, kind of like, maybe even non-alcoholic cocktail, to a very strong, kind of, like spirit-forward one on the second line. Our third line is simple and complex, which is like how many ingredients there are in it, how many different kind of processes it takes to make. Excuse me, I had to readjust myself there. And finally, I've put this bottom one, which is it going to be a hot or a cold one? It's a slider there, although I feel like it's more of a kind of a binary value, except I might also include spicy in the like hot tab, but I don't know, honestly. I just really wanted a fourth bar, and that's the best thing I could think of. Maybe by next time I'll have thought of something proper, or perhaps, if there's anyone in the chat who wants to suggest something, I am all ears. But for the moment, yeah, that bar is hot and cold. So, where do I put Mr. Eveland on each of these little sliders? So let's start with the first one, bitter and sweet. Now, I'm going to go ahead, actually, before I reveal where I put Ike on, and just, I guess, answer a question I imagine a lot of you have. It's like, why is the slider from bitter to sweet? Aren't there, 5 different things people can taste? And you'd be right, there's bitter, sweet, salty, spicy, and sour. Now, spicy I've already kind of gone over. I'm kind of putting in hot. I don't think anyone ever wants a salty drink. I don't think that's a thing. Or if it is, it's rare enough that it's not worth putting on one of the main sliders. And sour, I think, will come... sour's the only really outlier there, but then I have to do like a bittersweet sour triangle, and I feel like it'd be easier to just put on as an extra note, oh, I want this specifically to be sour if I think there's a VTuber who particularly calls for it. But that will probably shake out in the ingredients, so like, I guess if I were to do one for, say, Bao, because she has that whole, like, lemon whale thing going on, then, you know, maybe I'd say, oh yeah, this definitely needs, you know, to have kind of like, you know, a lemoniness and a sourness about it. Although I'm not even sure, like, again, I would say it needs to be a sour cocktail because, you know, she's sweet enough. At least seems it. Here we are. 1 second. I'm just gonna. There we go. Just gonna try something with my mic there because I think this. Ooh, 1 second. There we are. Oh no. Hold on. Okay, right. I think this works better. I was having to stand at a really awkward angle. Now I'm kind of kneeling down, which is a lot more comfy for me. Yeah. Yeah, just technical adjustments going on in the background here. So, anyway, back to the original question. Where do I put Mr. Eveland on these sliders? So, let's start with the bittersweet one. You can see I put him there, you know. He's a sweet lad, I think. And I also know he has a penchant for energy drinks and the like, or at least used to, which are fairly sweet-tasting things. So, while I don't think it needs to be hyper-sweet, I think a sweetish cocktail would suit him quite well. Next up, we've got the weak strong kind of slider there. Can you tell, by the way, that I had far too much fun in PowerPoint earlier? Truly, I've outdone myself with this. Although, actually, I say that, and then I have another VTuber coming up later who is also quite into her PowerPoints and could probably put me to shame. So, I won't speak too highly there. But yeah. So my second slider, weak strong, I've gone on the slightly weak end for Ike here. Like, it's still pretty, like, middling, though. It's not, like, noticeably weak. It's just, I think... This one, I'm open to argument, because I think it's either slightly weak or slightly strong, but I don't think there's a strong enough argument either way. At least from what I know of Ike. You know, if there are people in the chat who've watched him a lot more and know of other stuff, then by all means, do pipe up. I'm all ears. Our third slider, between simple and complex. Again, a similar sort of thing here, but I'm definitely erring slightly more on the side of complex here. Because I think it adds that kind of air of sophistication that, you know, that Ike deserves, in a sense. Like, not to say that VTubers who have simple drinks are all, like, dummies or anything. This is not an intelligent slider. But I just feel, like I said, it's the vibe, and the vibe I get is very much, you know, this man is sophisticated. He deserves a sophisticated drink. And finally, on the hot cold slider, yeah, we're having a cold drink. We are cracking open a cold one with the boys, or with the boy in this case. So we're putting him right there. Next slide. So, a couple of other things I took into account. Oh, sorry, hold on. Technical issue on my side again. All stuff I'm learning for the next time I do one of these streams. But yeah, kneeling is definitely the way to go with this mic arm. But yeah, so a couple of things I took into account when I was kind of researching around and thinking of ways I can make this cocktail very suited to Ike. So the main body of this, I played it quite safe, and I'm essentially doing a riff on an existing cocktail called a Swedish Blue, which fits, you know. Ike is definitely very Swedish. And I think, you know, doing a cocktail kind of that riffs off of that would be quite fitting for him. And I also had an idea for a name, I think, is the first thing that popped into mind. And I just really liked this name. And I wanted to kind of take that forward. Yeah, I wanted to like essentially take that forward and kind of riff off of that because I think it's I mean the name stuck for me. I think it's really good. But what is this name? You may be asking. Well, may I present to you the cocktail I'll be making, the Eveland Breezer, based loosely off the Bacardi Breezer. By which I mean the main spirit in this is going to be Bacardi, as opposed to the Swedish Blue, which uses vodka. I think it also helps like balance the sweetness a little bit, and also rum will work well with a lot of things, but particularly since there's a couple of different fruity bits in this cocktail, I think it'll work very well. So let me I'm just going to go and jot that down, but my keyboard isn't directly in front of me anymore, so you'll have to excuse me a second while I go and do that. Alright, there we are. So that should be on screen. So if I switch to my hand cam again, we've got, we've got that there. So, where do we start with this drink? Well, the first thing we're going to start with is we're going to get our shakers, which are back here. Let's check I've got nothing in them. I indeed have not. So there we are. We take our tins. And we're going to need 2 ounces of rum. And I think I'm going to have to move my mic arm again to actually stand up for this bit. Can I get this to rest properly? There we go. I think that'll do. So... so as I said, our first ingredient, which gives the kind of breezer part of the name, is 2 ounces of Bacardi. Now, for those of you who don't know what a Bacardi breezer is, I'm implied to think that it's kind of like a fruit-flavoured Alcopop that was sold, might still be sold actually, but it definitely was sold a couple of years back in the UK. And it was quite popular. And I think, granted it's no energy drink, but by virtue of vibes, I think it fits that same sort of, quite sweet, quite synthetic-y kind of, vibe. So, let's get our rum. As I said here, just, had to move this out of the way. Got just a bottle of Bacardi there. Crack that open and get this in shot. So we're going to want 1, there we go, and 2, there we go, 2 ounces of that Bacardi. Which I've put the lid on as best as I can with these gloves on. Yeah, all things to know for next time. Also, maybe buy a shirt with slightly longer sleeves, because I do actually have a shirt on, but it's a bit of an issue. Ah well, it's not like I was particularly trying to hide my stuff anyway. I just thought this looked fancier and more official. So our next ingredient, anyway, with that aside, is half an ounce of Blue Curcao. I'm using bowls here, but any Blue Curacao is nice. This is what's going to give it its blue colour, in case you couldn't guess, And the fact that this stuff is egregiously blue. There we go. Right. So, let's... My audio for this is probably going to be absolutely all over the place, and I can only apologise. I shall have to maybe try and figure out a better way of doing this in the future. But anyway, we want half an ounce of this Blue Curacao. There we go. I shall put my jigger over there for the moment. Put the lid back on this. Next up, we've got half an ounce of Peach Schnapps. Any one will do. I've got this Archer stuff here from a while ago. I don't really remember where I picked it up. But Peach Schnapps is always good. It's a good sweet flavour. So we're going to grab half an ounce of that. There we go. Oh. Just going to clonk my cans with that. Then, aha! I've run into the first thing that I've forgotten. But I'll grab it in a minute, because there's something else I can do first. Right. We're going to want 1/4 of an ounce of lime juice. Now, I'm using fresh, so here is a lime. I'm just going to come over here, cut that in half. Go. And now what I'm going to do here is try and get as much of this on camera as I can, but just to save, or to try and save making a mess any more than I have to, I'm going to put my jigger in this can. Now I want to fill that top bit of the jigger, which is in half an ounce there, halfway up with lime juice, and as you can probably see, I've got a Mexican elbow here ready for juicing the lime. So I'm going to put half of that in here. There we go, and oh, I'm going to punch the camera. And we're going to juice this lime. Here we are, I was looking for about 1/4 of an ounce, which is a bit more than that, I think. Yeah, there we are. I'll call that 1/4 of an ounce. So, if I take our thing out there. So my jigger doesn't have any indication of, like, what's halfway on here, so I'm kind of guessing, but yeah, it looks about 1/4 of an ounce. Chuck that in there. And the other thing we need 1/4 of an ounce of is simple syrup, which is still in my fridge downstairs, so I'm going to grab that and the ice cubes at the same time. I'll be back in just 1 second. Alright, and I'm back. So, as I said, where should I put these, actually? Put them over here for a minute. There we go. So, we want 1/4 ounce of simple syrup, and I have probably just about that left at the bottom of here. Now, for those of you who don't know what simple syrup is, all this is just shy of 2 parts sugar and 1 part water, thrown in a pan, boiled up, and it's essentially just drinkable sugar. It's just extra sweet to add to your drink. So I'm going to pop the cap on this. Hopefully everything I'm doing is in shot. I'm trying to look at this as I go along, but I'm also having to make sure my head is vaguely near the mic and that I'm kind of like squatting through most of this. So it's not the most ideal setup, but you know what? If it makes some decent drinks, then I'll take it. A little bit more. There we are. So, oh, that was way up. Cool. Missed the pour. Yeah, should have been pouring it there. Okay, but there. Anyway, about 1/4 ounce of simple syrup, which is going to go in our can. There we go. And finally, we're going to need a couple of ice cubes. Put that to the side. I've got an ice cube tray here, which I've already used some of the ice cubes from for something else. Probably testing out one of these, actually. Hey. There we go. We're just going to put 1. 2, 3, and 4, I think will work. So 4 little ice cubes in there. And then I'm going to throw this tray out the way. Yeah, because I don't actually need it for the other drink, I think. So I'm going to quickly throw this out the way, and then I'll be right back up again. Just 1 second again. Alright, so back, and all of our ingredients for the Evelyn Breezer are now in these cans. So, I'm going to chuck the lid on that, I'm going to shake it a bit. Hopefully you'll be able to hear the shaking, but I'm not going to try and shake it here, because that's awkward and probably way too loud. So I'm just going to go and stand a little way away from the mic, shake this, and then I've got a special way of thinking about preparing this. So, if you'll excuse me for just one more time. Alright, arm workout done. We've got a shaken cocktail, which I can hopefully part the cans for. Just might take a little while. And the difficulty is doing this without hitting the camera, honestly. Come on. And the gloves on with for less grip isn't exactly helping either. You know what, 1 second, let's... There we go. Just need to bring it in a little bit. So there is our mixed drink. Now, the original cocktail, I guess the original Swedish Blue, which uses vodka, just serves it like that. And I've tried it. You could. There's something a little extra I want to do for this. So, I've got here a little glass bottle. Not too dissimilar from the kind of bottles that the old Bacardi breezers would be served in. So I want to put it in there. Now, if I were prepared, I would have maybe got, like, a funnel or something for this. But, you're just going to have to trust me on the magic of editing and this jug I have that's a bit too unwieldy to get on screen. That I'm going to get it in there. Yeah. At the very least, hopefully you get some pouring sounds out of this. I don't know if that does it for anyone's ASMR. There we are. Almost there. But one other little modification I'd like to make is, because obviously that bottle's not quite full yet, and that simply won't do. So I'm actually going to top this off with a bit of lemonade. Helps kind of bring down the booziness of it as well. And like I said from the original slides, maybe we were aiming for slightly on the weak side here, so this will be where that comes in. So let me open this. Ooh. Let me open this and try and not have it hiss all over me. That'd be great. Let's pour a little bit of that in here. Now, ideally, if I'd have been smart, I would have mixed these before putting it in the bottle. But, you know, we live and learn. Hanging on the edge of tomorrow. Which I'm obliged to say every time someone says live and learn. The lemonade I'm using is this bottle here you're just seeing on screen, and it's not anything fancy, it's just, like, some de facto, like, Asda stuff, but it's what you can get, really. So let me top this up a little bit. And there we go. A beautiful, bubbly Evelyn Breezer. So, I'm just gonna... Wait. Now the cocktail's made, I'm gonna try and switch back to kneeling mode. Hopefully my voice is a bit clearer here. Ooh. Almost knocked it over. Good start. So, I'm going to very quickly grab a... I'm going to try to, apparently I can't. Really? Hold on, maybe I can do it on here. Aha, I can do it on here. There we go. So, I guess all that's left to do now, then, is taste the thing and let you know what I think. So, let's give it a shot. Cheers. Yeah, that's nice, that's nice. It's a very... it's a bit more spirit forward than I thought it would be. But the evolution on it is really nice. So, it starts off, because I think with it being in this bottle, there's a bit less lemonade than I maybe would have liked, but you know, I wanted to go for the bottle for the presentation points. I think really, you could add a bit more, like lemonade to it if you really didn't like how, like if you were really not a fan of how spirit forward it was, but it's not overbearingly spirit forward, it's just more than I thought it would be. But it does very much announce itself with like, this is an alcoholic drink, and this rum, like, you know, or it's kind of, I guess, the rum and the Blue Curacao, because the Blue Curacao does that a lot. And it just hits you dead at the start, and it's like, this is an alcoholic drink, and now I have your attention, and then it kind of mellows out, and you get the peach schnapps coming through, and like the sugar syrup, and the kind of slight oranginess as from the Blue Curcao. And it turns into something really sweet, and I think it leaves you with a really nice aftertaste. I'd say I'm pretty proud of that. I will be sipping on this later once stream's done. I might have a bit more now, actually. Yep. It's very drinkable. I will say that. It is very drinkable. And I think, ideally I'd like a little sticker here of just like Ike's face. But it's like in the Bacardi Breezer style, but it's just Ike. And it just says Evelyn Breezer on it. But, unfortunately, I do not own a printer or the means to do that. So, you're just going to have to imagine that. But still, a very nice cocktail. I think I've done it some justice here. I'm gonna very quickly check here. Yep, we're all still doing good. Right. So, first cocktail, the Evelyn Breezer, a success, I'd say. Just gonna put it back here. So, if I head back here and do a bit of 3, 2, 1, bam. There we go. I forgot the clicking does not work in these gloves at all. But, yeah. Now we've got that out of the way, let's move back to here. There we are. So, with Evelyn Breezer done, it's time to move on to our next VTuber. Who, as I've said before, I'd say a PowerPoint queen, but she is also a literal prince. It is Rin Penrose, not the VTuber who debuted a lot more recently than Ike, but I love her energy and I love her streams. Just really a lot of fun. A lot of British humour, which, vibes with me pretty well. Also suffering from the British debuff. Although I like to think... Oh, God. That was a really bad way to start that sentence off. I was going to say, although I like to think that I'm relatively eloquent most of the time. But, yeah. I said that, completely stuffing up the line I was going to say it on. So, take from that what you will. So... We're going to use the same sort of framework to assess Rin, what kind of cocktail I want to make her, or at least, I say what cocktail we're going to make her as if I'm just going to pull stuff out here. I've already got a rough plan, and this is more just the showing my working stage. So, using these same 4 bars, we are looking for something definitely on the very sweet end for Rin, I think. I mean, she is someone who... likes to kind of just loaf around in a giant pile of blåhaj and, what are the bear ones called? Like Skrunklekorg or something? The IKEA plushies, basically. A blåhaj is an IKEA shark, and the Skrunkle whatever is the IKEA bears. And if that's not sweet, then I don't know what is. So, we're making a sweet drink for a sweet prince. We are putting her on the slightly strong side. Now, this might seem a bit weird, but there's reasons for it. Firstly, and I think I mentioned this on the next slide, actually, but I wanted to make her drink, in fitting with her being like a royal monarch and that, I wanted to make her drink quite, ceremonial and something you'd only have on special occasions, and I think that's warranted to be a little bit on the strong side. Plus, again, thoroughly British, so... I kind of just automatically assume that the alcohol tolerance of British people is a bit higher than, like, other places in the world. Could be entirely wrong, that could just be my own bias. But, it's what I'm sticking with here to put her at this just very slightly strong placing. For simple and complex, we're going relatively simple again. This is a ceremonial drink. There's arguments that say that, you know, again, based on the same royal stuff, she could deserve something very complex than that. But I think a simple but I think, or at least a simple in terms of ingredients drink is alright here. And finally, in a hot cold slider, yeah, to no one's surprise, we're making another cold drink. I really am just putting the slider here because I want a fourth bar because it makes the slide look nice. Maybe one day I'll find a better metric for analysing these drinks that I can put there instead of hot and cold, but for now, that's what's there. So, as I've already stated, I wanted to make a celebratory kind of drink with Rin, so the first thing that came to mind was like, oh, okay, maybe I can make like a champagne or Prosecco kind of thing. And I also had, which I'll show you in a minute, a bottle of Lychee Liquer around, which is both pink and very sweet, which seems very on brand here. So, I'm going to be making a cocktail in honour of Rin Penrose, with a name that is not very inventive, because it's just her original song's name, but you know what, that song's a banger, go listen to it. Go listen to Golden Age, and maybe, if you're so inclined, drink a Golden Age while you're listening. Because that's the cocktail we're making. So, let me switch back to the old cam. There we are. Right. I'm going to just move my audio around to standing position again. So, give me 1 second. The moving the mic arm bit isn't that hard, it's this accursed pop filter that won't stay up. Right, okay, I think I've got something. Or at least we're going to work on the assumption that I've got something with regards to the pop filter setup, and we're going to move on. So, let me bring this up. There we are. So, for this drink, we're not actually going to need to shake it. This one can be stirred quite adequately. So, I've got what I'm going to kind of rather overbearingly call my mixing glass, but is really just a sturdy glass that I had. And we've got my bar spoon here as well, ready for stirring that good stuff up. But what good stuff, I hear you ask? Well, first off, we'll start with that ingredient that I mentioned in the slides, which I didn't almost drop. You can't prove anything. So if I move this back a bit, we've got a bottle of Lychee Liquer, and you can see it's got this really nice pink colour to it, which is great. I've tried a decent bit of this, actually. Very sweet. I quite like it. We're going to see if we can get it to work here. My test results on this one have been a bit inconclusive, so I've messed around with the recipe a few times. This one is still in the, maybe it's good, maybe it's not stage. So, we're going to try. If it makes something horrible, we can always try again in the future. But for now, we want 1 ounce of this Lychee Liquer. I'm actually going to rinse this out before I do as well. Just make sure there's no syrup or blue curacao left in it that might impact the flavour. So just give me 1 second. Okay, and we are back with a freshly cleaned out jigger. So, just give me 1 second to get my gloves back on, because obviously I didn't want to keep them on while I was rinsing it out. 1 ounce of Lychee Liquer is our first ingredient. And so, 1 ounce of Lychee Liquer we shall pour. It's, yeah, I'm trying to think of the best way to get this on camera. And also the best way to hold this, because, you know what? Not easy with gloves. Not easy. It's way too high. There we go. A full ounce of that delicious pink Lychee Liquer, which has kind of mostly missed the glass, unfortunately, but you know what? I'm going to try that again, actually. I'm going to move this out. Camera setup I've got at the minute is kind of unwieldy, but let's try this again. So down here, get a full ounce. And there we are, full ounce in the glass this time. Wow, it's almost like I'm a professional or something. Disclaimer, I'm a thorough amateur at all this mixing stuff, and I'm not a professional at all. I can't believe I haven't mentioned that sooner, actually, in case any of you are looking at this and going, what the fuck is he doing? What I'm doing is my best. There we go. Right then, our next ingredient is... ooh, punched my camera again. There we are. So we're going to take an ounce of this vodka, which I'm probably covering up, aren't I? Yep, I sure am, but yeah. So an ounce of this Smirnoff, which thankfully is a lot easier to hold in that Lychee Liquer bottle. So, should be easier to pour. There we go. And easy to throw in the glass there. And you can see on the camera, at least I hope you can see, it's not showing up quite as much as it is in real life, but there's a distinctly pink hue to the drink, which is what I'm going for. Now, this is where we get into some more fun and controversial stuff, because so far I've got Lychee Liquer and vodka, and you know, that's 2 ingredients. It's not really a drink yet. I need something else to make it. You know that there's some Prosecco coming, but that'll happen at a later date. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do something that's very unorthodox, but I feel like if I was making a drink called the Golden Age, I'd feel very remiss not adding in a little bit of this next ingredient. So, allow me to introduce... Yep. There we go. Some Goldschlager. Now, for those of you who don't know what this is a cinnamon, like cinnamon schnapps, essentially, so a cinnamon liqueur, that, if you can see at the bottom here, actually has, like, actual gold flakes in it. So, you've got to put it in something called a Golden Age. Now, are any of those golden flakes at the bottom of this going to end up in this drink? Probably not, because I'm not pouring the whole bottle. In fact, I'm pouring a very sparing amount of this stuff, because it's definitely got a flavour to it that I think could overpower a lot of the other ingredients. Or just make the drink kind of generally unpleasant. So, we're sticking to just half an ounce of this. Although, one thing I will say about pouring this, I'm not sure if any of you have heard the bottle pouring sounds because they're behind my mic here. But the sound this makes when you pour it is, to me at least, very satisfying. Just that kind of liquidy, like, click, 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 click. Or glug, 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 I suppose. But yes, there we are. Half an ounce of Goldschlager with no gold bits in particularly. But hey-ho. That goes in there. So what we're going to do now is give this a stir. Ooh, that's probably making a horrible din on the horrible nipped in on the old mic. There we are. Try and not smack the edges with it. But before we... Obviously, this isn't going to be served in this. That would be far below a Prince of the Realm. So, we're going to prepare the glass that it's going to be served in next. So, I've got this... it's going to have to go here, isn't it? You know what, actually? Let me clean this up first, and then I'll get back to preparing the glass. I'll just give this a little dab up. I'll clean this up properly to stop my worktop getting sticky, but for now, that'll do. Right, so we've got a champagne flute. I'm going to be honest, the perspective on this is weird, but my camera stand for this can only go so high, so this is the best shot of it we can get. Now what I'm going to try and do on this is I'm going to try and have a gold sugared rim. So what I've got here is a little kind of like a little bowl of water, and the plan is we dip this in here and then we roll it through. See if I can get this on screen. Yeah, we roll it through this little plate of gold sugar crystals. Now, I'll be honest, I ordered these offline, online even, because they're not the easiest thing to find in the shops near me, in the middle of the dream world. But weirdly, online Amazon works a treat in the dream world. But these are a bit bigger than I thought they were going to be. So, whether this works or not, whether it looks good or not, this is my first time doing this, so your guess is as good as mine. There we are, just give that a bit of a dunk in there. A little bit of a shake, and then we're going to roll this through here, and hopefully some of it sticks. Kind of. Okay. Yeah, solid kind of. Let me, maybe I put a bit more of the sugar down, because I feel like I'm grasping a bit there. Which will mean taking my gloves off again, because this thing's not going down without a fight. Come on. Hey, there we go. Right. More of this gold sugar on here. It's not going to use it for anything else, so fine to just splash it there. So, oops. Got to put my glove back on, but hey ho. Right, take two. Let's try and get this sorted before that water dries. Oopsie. I mean, ideally a flat surface would probably be best for doing this, but you know what? I've not really got, like, well, something to hand at the minute that would do that. So, okay. You know what? I'm happy with that, actually. So I can just, oops, touch up little bits of it. I think it's not the best sugared rim ever, but I just give things a little nudge in the right direction. That's definitely passable, I'd say, yeah. Okay, so there's our glass prepared for the golden age. What we're going to do now is I'm going to take our mixing glass of stuff. I'm going to pour that in here. There we go. And finally, the ingredient that I bet some of you thought I'd forgotten about, and I wouldn't blame you, I am very forgetful, is this bottle of Bottega Gold Prosecco. What I've gone with. I was doing some research on this, actually, about the differences between champagne and Prosecco. Turns out that it's kind of like a tequila and mezcal situation, where tequila, like, they're similar spirits, but tequila can only be brewed in one certain bit of Mexico, and then everything outside of that has to be called mezcal. So similarly, champagne can only be brewed in one specific bit of France, and then everything outside of that has to be called Prosecco instead. I need to find a way to open this, which probably means taking my gloves off again. So, that's that off. Now, I'm gonna switch back to kneeling, because my legs are getting tired. Because it's not even like a full stand when I'm doing that there. It's kind of more just of a squat, which is hard to keep up. Okay, let's see. Now, there we go. That sounds good. All right. So there is our Bottega Gold. We're going to top this here. There we go. And there we have it, the Golden Age. I should really put gloves back on before I do that. The gloves have been very hit or miss this stream, I have to be honest. I might just not bother with them next time. Like I said, mainly doing them because they look fancy. But if it gets a huge pain to be able to operate stuff without them, then there's not a lot of point in them. Yes, so here is a Golden Age. I'm going to try it now and let you know what I think. Cheers. Okay. Wow. You know, I thought, right, I'll bring this back into focus. I thought the sugared rim was just a very showy thing. Absolutely not, in fact. I'd say on this drink, this sugared rim is essential. It changes the flavor profile of this drink so much. Because you get kind of like, a drink didn't end up nearly as sweet as I was hoping. You get like kind of the mix of the Prosecco. I feel like I could do with a bit more, maybe a bit more of the Lychee Liquer and a bit less of the vodka. Because I tried a prototype version of this with 2 ounces of Lychee Liquer and half an ounce of Goldschlager, and it was really like overbearingly sweet. I wasn't a fan of that version at all, but I hadn't added the Prosecco in there. In fact, I think I just used lemonade instead because it was on hand, and obviously that's probably what made it way too sweet in hindsight. I'm a genius. But this drink here, that's actually really good. I'm going to go back for another bit. Yeah. So, in that, I'd say the Prosecco leads. You've got kind of like the kind of, I guess, comparatively to the Lychee Liqueur, the slightly bitter notes of that. And then I feel, before the Lychee Liqueur really has a chance to shine in that, you get the kind of cinnamony aftertaste of the Goldschlager. And then, kind of to pick it back up from that, not that that's a bad aftertaste, but I think to pick it back up from that, what you can then do is take some of the sugar, sugar from this rim, and kind of mix that with the drink, and that sweetens it up, and then that's divine once you've done that. That is very good. Let me just check I've got a good angle to do this from. Yeah, there we go. Really, I should have taken a photo of this before taking a sip, but I'm just going to do that now. So I've got something to put on the old Twitter once this is done. Move this Goldschlager out of the way as well. There we go. Try and not shake my camera and give everyone motion sickness. Take my glove off because that's not working. There we go. Alright. But yeah, so I think... oh god. Do excuse me, 1 second. My blooming phone decided to go off despite the fact that I quite clearly cancelled that alarm, but... Alright then. Yeah, apologies for any audio disturbance there. Like I said, still getting the hang of the setup with this stream, I think. But this cocktail is a success. I'd say, yeah, it's definitely not as sweet a cocktail as I could have made it. I think swapping out, maybe even just ignoring the vodka altogether and just going straight Lychee Liquer. Or maybe step it up. I'd step it up half an ounce at a time, actually. So maybe the difference I'd make to this would be 1.5 ounces of Lychee Liquer and half an ounce of vodka, because the Lychee Liqueur's sweetness and I guess in some part the color as well. I mean, like, luckily it's showing up alright on camera as this kind of like nice rose gold. I think it could be a bit more pink though. So yeah, I'd rate putting another little bit of that in there. But other than that, really, a very good drink. I'm amazed how well or how mandatory the sugared rim on this is. Yeah, I think it's a very fitting celebration drink to have every now and then. I'm very proud of that. So, with that being said, I hope you've all enjoyed this stream. What I'm now going to go and do is go off and enjoy these drinks. I'll be doing a write-up on... In fact, hold on, let me make sure I'm on the right bit of my presentation here. There we go. Oh, I forgot to change the text. Oh, that's embarrassing. Oh no. Let me retroactively change it and hope no one notices. Now, between you and me, people who are watching, we're just going to pretend that was there the whole time, alright? We're going to pretend I didn't forget that, and that I'm very good at streaming and haven't been having weird audio issues for this entire thing. But, to be fair, I was partly expecting that. This is my first cocktail stream with this setup. I think I need, like, a smaller chair or something. Something I can sit on while doing this. Because this whole half squat thing that I'm doing now isn't particularly comfy, and neither's kneeling for extended periods of time. But yeah. So, thank you very much for watching. Please let me know what you thought of what you've just witnessed, I suppose. I'm going to be doing a write-up of these drinks on Twitter. Or maybe in the description. Yeah, you know what, I'll put them in the description of this video, and I'll just say on Twitter, hey, links are in the description of the video. I think that's a bit more sound. Yeah, I'll be doing a write-up of them there, along with any kind of notes I would have had, so for the Golden Age, maybe throwing in a little bit more Lychee Liquer. Yeah, other than that, I'm going to bid you all a very good evening, or at least morning, afternoon, now, wherever and whatever time it is for you. Yeah, I hope you have a pleasant time and have had a pleasant time. Drink responsibly. Don't drive yourself to destruction trying to prototype these things, which is something I'm definitely trying to do myself. It's why I don't want to do these streams with too much regularity. Well, I do want to do them with some regularity, but I'm thinking like monthly at this point. Maybe bi-weekly. but we'll see about that. I think 3 a month is probably where I'm going to end up going with this. But yeah, wittering aside, I will see you all in the next stream. My name's been Artorius Winchester, and I don't have an outro. But, to my credit, I do have some gloves occasionally. So that's nice. See ya.